Now we have inverses. That is, if I know the ratio and I want to find the angle, I use the inverse of sine. So for example, if the sine of A equals x, then the arc sine of x is the measure of angle A, or the inverse sine. We'll say sine to the negative 1. So if I look at the row line 2 here, if cosine of A equals x, well then to find the measure of angle A, I'm going to do the arc cosine of x equals the measure of angle A. Or the inverse cosine. Cosine to the negative 1 means inverse cosine. If you look at line 3, the tangent of angle A is x, then the arctangent of x equals A, or we'd say the inverse tangent. So we write inverse tangent as tan to the negative 1 of x equals A. In other words, we use the inverse function to find the angles. So let's apply that to a problem here. I want to use my calculator, and I want to find the measure of angle P to the nearest tenth. So I look at angle P. Notice what I'm given. I'm given the adjacent side, and I'm given the hypotenuse. So in other words, I'm going to use cosine, because cosine, cos. So I'm going to say the cosine of angle P equals my adjacent, which is 13, over my hypotenuse, which is 19. Well, if you know the cosine, what we're going to do is we're going to type in our calculator. We're going to say, oh, that means the measure of angle P then. Well, that's the inverse cosine of 13 over 19. And we're going to round that to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to take the inverse cosine of 13 over 19. Now, where's the inverse cosine on your calculator? Good question. So on my calculator, it's hidden under the function tab. So you got to go in the top row, click on the third tab there, here that says function. Now do you see inverse cosine? It's cosine of the negative 1. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in my ratio, which is 13 over 19. So if I say, what I'm saying, hey, if an angle has a cosine that's 13 over 19, how many degrees is that angle? Well, in this case, it's 46.8 degrees. So we're going to say the measure of angle P, rounded to the nearest tenth, is 46.8 degrees. There we have that.